Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. The meeting is being recorded. Please click OK on your end so that we could have a copy of this recording for those who are unable to join us today. Thank you for keeping time. My name is Ernest Wamboye, and I am glad to be your facilitator for today's session on how and when to talk to your children about sex. And this is brought to you courtesy of KCPF, that is the Kenya Christian Professionals Forum, also brought to you by Candid Hope, New Dawn Mentorship, and the Relationship Center. And we are going to start the word of prayer, and I'm going to go immediately into the session after we pray. Father, we are grateful for today and grateful for the availability of technology to make us gather today in this way. We commit this session into your hands, and we ask that you go ahead of us so that we may learn and that we may save the next generation from the influence of the enemy, the world, and from every fleshly tendency that comes from our sinful human hearts. I ask that you be in the midst of our meeting, for you did say where 2 or 3 are gathered in your name, you are right there with them. So we know you're here. We may not see you, but we know that your presence abides with us. Thank you for all the parents who have joined us. Thank you for those who are also gathered online via YouTube. I thank you for the opportunity to teach your people. Would you give me the wisdom? Would you give me the strength and the requisite knowledge so that your people may be edified? In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray and believe. Amen. All right. Can you hear me clearly? Am I loud enough? I can see an amen from Shivachi, and I can see a yes from Evans. So I'm going to believe that I am loud enough. I can see we are currently at 400 and rising. Once the numbers hit 500, the Zoom meeting is going to close. And that's to say that the Zoom application, the module that we have takes only up to 500 participants. However, if anyone wants to join after that, they can follow via the YouTube link. And so I'm going to ask our co-host, Steve Aomo, just to be on standby with the link so that whenever the class fills up, we'll post that link and you may send it out to anyone. So he's going to post it in the comment section. Also, I want you to know that this is an interactive session. So the comment section is open for you to share your thoughts, to share your ideas, and to give your reactions as we teach, so that you can encourage me as we go along. It's good to have an interactive audience. So allow me to just share my screen and start today's class. All right. Oops, sorry. A minute. Just sharing the wrong one. I need to just share again. Just give me a moment. All right, here we are. How to talk to your children. At times, the screen tends to be blurry, and that happens because we are a full class. However, with time, it clears up. So in case the screen starts by being blurry, don't mind that. And I can see Jackson saying, can the link be shared to the WhatsApp group? Which WhatsApp group, Jackson? Which WhatsApp group? I need to know which WhatsApp group. There are people here from everywhere with different WhatsApp groups. So I'm just going to ask Steve Omo, please just, even right now, just post the link because we're now at 500. Please post the link. There it is. Thank you so much, Steve. Steve has shared the link. So feel free to copy that link and just send it out to your friends, okay? And wherever they are. So Jackson, you can copy that link and you can send it to your relevant WhatsApp groups. Any notes from the session? All right, so the session has not even begun. You're already asking for notes. I like the enthusiasm. The session has not even started, but people are saying, give us the notes. So let's start. So afterwards. All right, yes. So let's finish the session and then we'll talk. So this is the War on Children series. This is part 2. We did part 1 2 weeks ago, and we talked about screens. And today we're talking about how to talk to children about sexuality. There's a lot of content to cover, so allow me to just go into it immediately. That's my family. I am a follower of Jesus Christ, and I'm a family man as well. I've been married to my wife, Waturi, for the past 13 years. It's going to be 13 this September. And we have 3 children. We have Tandy, Ivana, and Theo. Tandy is the one on my right. She's turning 9 this year. Then you've got Ivana, who's turning 7 this year. And then right there in the middle, we have Theo, who is turning 3 this year. So this topic is very close to my heart because I am a father of 3 children. And I really want them to grow up with the right foundation for their sexuality. I run a ministry called the Relationship Center, which is an organization that promotes and defends biblical family values. And under the Relationship Center, we run a premarital class, my wife and I. We also run a pornography addiction recovery class for men and for women. I teach the men's class. My wife teaches the women's class. And we are the founders of a Bible board game called Logos, the Ultimate Bible Board Game. So I'm showing you a picture of my family because I'm sure you all come from families and you're passionate about the next generation, especially for you who have children. So just an opening discussion for us. And I would like to see your thoughts in the comment section. So growing up, did your parents speak to you about sex openly and clearly? I can already see Biggie saying, no. Before I even finish the question, Becky just answered and said, no, they did not. And I can see Stella, Nancy, Janice, oh, so many no's. Is there one yes? What? Oh, there's one yes. Praise the Lord. There's one yes from who? Who is this? From Dawn. Dawn, blessed are you among many children. Someone says, we never, no, big no, wapi, never. Rarely, all right, barely. Barely is almost there. It's more than a no, but less than a yes. Someone says taboo, never ever. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I can see someone else says, I can see Mushanella says, not until I was 18. And Joy Rahab says, how? I can see Titi saying abomination. Okay, it was an abomination. How? About monthly periods. Yes, Sheila Karuga, very good. About how you people are traumatized. The topic was that if I see a man, I will be pregnant, says Nelly. So majority are saying no. I can see another yes. There's a yes from Shadrach, but then he says your story tabiambaya. I can see a yes from Valerie, and Valerie says our mom was a peer educator. Oh wow, Valerie, that is amazing that your mom was able to bring her work into the home and use it for the benefit of the children. All right. Nope, taboo. Nope, my dad, not my mom. I can see Miriam saying, Ole sekia wapi. My dad, not my mom. Oh, wow, okay. So the dad there who did it. The ABCs were taught, says Eve, abstain, be faithful, use a condom. It was a taboo to talk about it in our tribe, all right? Kindly name your company after the session. All right, I'll do that. It's called the Relationship Center, Never just saying, don't sleep with me, yet we used to sleep. Never just saying, don't sleep with me, yet we used to sleep with my brother. Oh my goodness. So someone says there, they were taught, don't sleep with someone, yet there was some activity going on, some incest going on in the home. You will get pregnant, Erica was taught. I can't remember. I can see Wamboye saying, in fact, I asked her some years back, why? She said she grew up when it was taboo to talk about it. I was like, why am I learning about sex? Sex is also spiritual at 25. All right, so that is one boy saying at 25, she's learning things about sex that she didn't know, like sex is spiritual. I can see Olivia says yes, warning that marriage was like death, keep off sex. Oh my goodness. Dorothy says, I was told that men only wanted sex. Oh man. Memory says, in a threatening way, I started seeing after my period. All right. Wanjiru says, when I joined campus, there were more threats. Utapata ukimwi utakufa. For those who are our non-Kiswahili speakers, that means you'll get AIDS and die. Lillian says, my mom just talked about AIDS, but not sex. Ooh. No, I took it upon myself to talk to my younger siblings when I was 20. Oh, okay, good job, Veronica. Thanks for looking after your siblings. I was told never sit on a boy's bed or else I'll fall pregnant. I believed this until my early 20s. Oh my goodness. For the yeses must be Gen Zs. Gen Zs. All right. So, friends, I can see all the reactions. Some of them are funny, some of them are sad. And I just read two more. Someone says, Mom told me, assume that every man is HIV positive. Oh my goodness. Ooh, fear. And I can see finally, Anthony says, my sister was told, Arume ni nyamo, meaning men are beasts. All right. So friends, I hope that reaction or those reactions from the comment section have given you the reality about our world. We've got very few yeses and very many no's. In fact, I would say 99% of the people on the comment section have said no. And that means that we grow up in a society that is silent about sex, yet sex is a part of our everyday life. Friends, we need to be better than our parents. We're going to teach you how. So, a few facts for you to consider. Number one, if children find silence in the home about sexuality while the world is speaking, they will mistrust the home's voice. The world is always saying something about sexuality on the music videos, on Netflix. The world is always saying something about sexuality on the billboards, on the radio, and children will hear this eventually. If the world is speaking about sex, why is the home silent about sex? In fact, why is the church silent about sex? The voices of the home and the church will not be trusted if they're silent. That's why we need to learn how to speak. So you teach by silence that sex is not up for discussion. If you're silent about a topic, you are basically telling your children, we don't talk about that. We don't raise it. We don't discuss it. Hush, silence. But when we talk about it, we give them an idea that some things can be talked about, but there are certain parameters that can be given for them to be discussed in a healthy way. A few more facts. If you don't talk to your children about sex, the world will. That's what we are saying. And this, the reality is that the world will bring its destructive indoctrination with it. The world will not care that you want to raise these children using a Christian worldview. The world will not care that you want to raise these children in a way that is glorifying to God. No, they will say, this is the way it runs. They don't care about your worldview. They don't care about your Christian faith. So you must also know that there's an ideological war on our children and their sexuality by Western ideologies through CSE, LGBTQ, and abortion on demand. These three things, CSE, that is comprehensive sexuality education, the LGBTQ movement, and abortion on demand, are the three main pillars of most NGOs that are propagating Western ideologies. And if I should say, Western liberal ideologies. And so, if you don't have a head start, the world will have a head start. We must heal from our own sexual brokenness in order to effectively communicate to our children about their own sexuality. If a parent is going through sexual brokenness, they will struggle to speak to their own children about their own sexuality. So we're saying if you don't heal, you will teach your children about sexuality through the lens of your brokenness. You've seen a few comments there. There's a parent who told the child, assume that all men are HIV positive. Now, it is possible that that child is being parented from the brokenness of that parent. Maybe that parent has a relative who was HIV positive. Or maybe that parent has a spouse who is HIV positive. Or that parent has a friend who's close, who's HIV positive. And so because of their own brokenness, they are teaching their children about sex but not through a healthy mindset, but through a broken mindset. We want to ensure that we ourselves are vessels that are not leaking, that we are pure vessels, and that we are vessels that are healthy enough to have these conversations in a healthy way. So I'm going to start by addressing the parent before I address the children. Because some of you perhaps have logged in and you've told me, Ernest, give me all the tips to talk to my child. That's true. But if you don't navigate your own brokenness, friends, it doesn't matter how much you try to help your children. You will not do it well. I can see there's a comment there by Karen asking, please share the link. Steve Almo, you could please post the link again so that Karen can post it to her groups and her relevant social media circles. Yes?
Check your inbox there. I think there's a technical challenge to continue.
All right. Okay, so there's a technical challenge here. Let's see. Let me just see. There seems to be a problem here. On the three dots, click on live streaming, then enable anyone joining to be redirected to YouTube. I think I forgot to activate on the three dots. All right, just a minute. So I just need to sort something out here with Steve. Steve, can I just make you an admin for some time?
Yes, make me host, then I sort it out as you continue. Thank you.
All right, let me just, friends, just give me a moment. Let me just, all right. So as Steve is sorting that out, let me just go back. Let me just go back to sharing my screen, okay? Sorry for the interruption. As Steve is sorting that out. So the people who are on the comment section. All right, so where was I? I hope you can see the screen. I hope you can hear me clearly. So yes, I was saying that if we don't heal from our own brokenness, we will parent our children in a horrible way. So I want to start by addressing the parents first. After we address the parents, then we'll address the children, okay? So negative sexual formation. I have 21 questions for you as a parent. And negative sexual formation, what is that, you may be asking? These are thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes that you have about sexuality that are not right or that are not aligned with the truth of God's word. So I want you to think about this before you even approach your child. Reflect on your own life using these 21 questions. Question number 1, did anyone sexually molest you as a child? Number 2, did you ever engage in ignorant sexual activity as a child? And I can see someone saying, yes, they were molested. I'm sorry about that. I'm really sorry about that. Number 3, did you grow up with healthy sexual organs? And by that, I mean, perhaps you grew up with a condition called intersex, and that condition called intersex robbed you a significant part of your childhood of having healthy sexual organs. And I'm assuming that perhaps there was surgical intervention. But if there was no surgical intervention early enough, you could find that that condition could have you go through some traumatic experience as a child because of not having healthy sexual organs. Number 4, did you have intersex as a condition in your childhood, which is related to number 3? Number 5, have you suffered rape or sodomy as an adult? Have you ever taken advantage of anyone sexually? I can see the saying there's a dark line on top of the title of your screen. Yeah, I know what it is, Zipporah. It is the menu button. I cannot move it at all. I can try, but it refuses to move completely. Yeah, it refuses to move completely. It's just a feature of Zoom. Let me try move it to the side. It's one of those things that cannot be undone. Okay. So that's the best it can do. I hope it works for you. All right. So let's continue. Number 7. Have you had sexual activity with a minor? And I can see Becky saying, I've never healed from the rape. I'm sorry about that. I hope that we can direct you to a few people. Some of the ministry partners here will direct you to some of them so you can get the requisite help. And I can thank you, Steve. I can see you're saying sorted. Anyone joining from now will be directed to YouTube. Very good. Very good. Thank you, Steve. Number 8, Has an adult indoctrinated you with untrue ideas about sex? Number 9, have you ever given or received sexual favors for personal profit? Number 10, do you have any children out of wedlock? Okay, do you have any children out of wedlock? So these are the first 10 questions, friends. Consider them, think about them, and I'm going to give you an opportunity even much later when you watch the recording to come back to these 21 questions and ask yourself if this is true of you as an adult. Then go to number 11. Number 11, have you ever committed an abortion or helped procure one? Have you struggled with same-sex attraction? And I can see another confession, another person who's confessing that they were raped, they were abused. I am so sorry. And that was as a child. So have you struggled with same-sex attraction? Number 13, have you been involved in same-sex activity? Have you been involved in sexual activity outside of marriage? Have you been sexually involved with a married person? Have you struggled with pornography? Have you struggled with masturbation? Have you contracted any sexually transmitted illnesses, any STI? Do you have any sexual addiction? Do you hate having sex with your spouse? Do you hate it? And finally, number 21, are you never sexually satisfied by your spouse? These questions are very personal. However, I suggest that you as a parent ought to find a place where you can speak about these things openly without fear of being judged so that you can receive the requisite help. It is important that you speak to your child about sexuality when you yourself are operating from a place of healing. And friends, we run a pornography addiction recovery class, and I can tell you there are many adults who are struggling with pornography, struggling with masturbation. There are many adults who are married, who hate having sex with their spouse, who are not sexually satisfied with their spouse. They don't know how to raise the issue. All these issues affect adults. And I can see Grace says some yes, some no. And it's true. There are some yeses for all of us here and there. My prayer is that part of your homework is that before we even start addressing your child, that you will take time, address these issues in your life, and find the necessary help so that you can move on with strength. Okay? Let's go on. So this is your parents' assignment to be a bit more specific. Do a sexual audit of your life. And in a prayer session with a believer, do the following. My hope is that you can find a believer, someone you trust, and you can answer those questions. And in a prayer session, you can do this. This is just a way to give you practical help on how to recover and get strength. Number 1, repent of past sexual sins in the prayer. Then number 2, forgive sexual offenders. For anyone who has been sexually molested, sexually harassed, please understand that part of the healing journey will require forgiving sexual offenders. It's not easy, but you need guided help. Okay? Renounce the following: money, gifts, agreements, vows, and promises made to one another, people who you had sexual contact with. Then ask the Lord to delink you from said person or said people. Okay? Then finally, accept God's forgiveness. You need to understand that God forgives you and God does not hold your sin against you. We are the ones who hold our sin against ourselves, but God's grace is sufficient so that we can be healed and so that we can move out of that brokenness. I can see a question here by Nelly. How do you know you have healed? How can you evaluate? The way you know you have healed is that number 1, you know you can see change. You can see change in your sexual behavior. If you are struggling with any addiction or any sin, you can see that there's a clear separation from you and that sin. That is one sign of healing. The other sign of healing is that the bitterness and the resentment in your heart towards offenders has left. Now, these 2 markers of healing will not happen instantly. They'll happen progressively, okay? And so you need to just watch out and ask yourself, have I attained those 2 markers? They are good markers. And also to understand that we are constantly walking in righteousness, so we never really arrive. We keep forgiving every time. We keep healing. We keep drawing our boundaries so that we live in sexual wholeness. What you can also do, if you and your spouse are here, let's say you're married, I'm going to ask you to set a date and talk with your partner about your audit. If you and your partner can have that conversation, I know there's some marriages where having that conversation is difficult, but if you can have that conversation with your partner, have a meeting, talk about that audit and clear the air, especially on things like co-parenting. And what do I want you to do? Forgive one another as Christ forgave you. One hindrance to talking to your children about sexuality is when there is uncleared air between the father and the mother. The father and the mother have not yet forgiven each other for their past. The father and the mother are still fighting concerning co-parenting. Those issues affect how you parent your children. So that is my assignment to you. And then for the men, I'm going to ask you to sign up for Powerhouse. Currently, we are in session, so the next one will start in October. And for the women, I'm going to ask you to sign up for Girl Power. So both these sessions, the next ones will start about in October. I'm going to give you a link at the end so that if anyone is interested, you can sign up for the next class. All right? So parents, work for you to do. Work for you to do. I know it is difficult, but that's the best place to start. So are we now ready to help our children? Comment section. I know this whole session on the parents needs a whole session on its own. Huh? Okay, but I'm going to ask us to just consider that as an important prerequisite, talking to your children. But for now, I want us to move on to the children. I can just see a question here saying, can one parent who's been able to do this, can one parent who's open be able to do this, especially for the opposite sex? Okay, can one parent who's open be able to do this, especially for the opposite sex? So I'll first say this: when you have this session and you want to help someone of the opposite sex, let it be your spouse. But if it is someone else, if in the prayer session you have the prayer session with a believer, do it with someone of the same sex. The reason we ask you to do that is so that you don't get into awkward emotional entanglements with people. So if you feel like you are healthy and you're helping another adult, make sure that other adult is of the same sex. Or if it is of the opposite sex, just have a third party in the room. It helps, okay? So things are not awkward. However, if it is helping your child, all right, we are ready to learn that right now. So I can see yeses from Faith, Kavila, and Rebecca and Janice. So I'm going to take that as a yes for everybody. Let's move on. So we're going to start by teaching you guys a foundation that we will ask you to learn, if possible, even memorize, because when your children ask you, what is the Christian teaching about sex, you need to know this, okay? You must know the Bible's teaching on human sexuality before you teach your children about sex. You must have a teaching, a foundation. And what is that teaching? Okay. Pauline says, yes, it is, but some matters are not speakable. Yeah. All right. We are going to break that ice today. So what you must know before you start talking to your children is that God's plan for sexuality, and this is the Christian sexual ethic, that God's plan for sexuality is threefold. Number one is that sex is a good thing because it was created by God. You must have a positive idea about sexuality before you talk to your children. You must see sex as primarily a good thing, not a bad thing. If your primary view of sex is bad, all right, you will pass on that to your children. Like say Daphne asked, at what age should you start the conversion? Just hold on to your horses. It is the next slide, okay? So that's the first thing, and it's created by God. And I've put there for you some scriptures that validate that. Number two, you must teach that all sexual activity is meant to be expressed between two people of the opposite sex. That sex is not for a man and a man, and sex is not for a woman and a woman, but sex is between one man and one woman. You must also teach that sex is monogamous, all right, in nature. It is not polygamous in nature. And you must teach that whenever the Bible gives us instances of men who are polygamous, that is biblical narrative, that is not biblical imperative. What do I mean by that? Biblical narrative. So for example, when the Bible says David raped Bathsheba, that is a narrative. It is not an imperative. You're not being taught to go and rape women, all right? Similarly, when you see the men of scripture who are polygamous, that is biblical narrative. It is not biblical imperative. Because if you look at the themes of all those families where those polygamy, there are all sorts of chaos, all sorts of strife. So you want to teach your children that sexual activity is going to be between one man and one woman. Someone says, are you going to share the slides? You're going too fast and I'm writing. All right, I'm going to put a link for you guys to access the slides. However, I'm going to put that, how am I going to put that? I'm going to try and share that after the class. So, and even if you miss it, don't worry, the recording is going to be available. Is it okay to invite my teen and preteen to listen in? Yes, it is. It's okay. It's okay to invite your teen and preteen to listen in. It's okay. There's no problem. So number three, finally, you want to teach that all sexual activity is meant to be expressed within the covenant of marriage. So this is the third point, okay? That God created the sexual gift to be expressed not outside of marriage, but within marriage. So make sure that those three pillars are very well known to you and you've got biblical backup for them, so that when your children are asking questions, you can respond biblically. And just to perhaps just to add to the answer that I gave to On Point, was asking if their teen and preteen can listen in. The answer is yes, but let them listen in with you present. Please don't leave them on the screen and then go away, because anyone who teaches about sexuality to your children needs your presence there. It's good that you're present there. So yes, you may have them, but please be present. Thank you. All right, so teaching children about sex should start at the age of 2. At the age of 2, friends. Now, some of you may be shocked. What? At the age of 2? Isn't that a bit too young? Isn't that a bit too soon? No, it's not. And the reason it's not is because at the age of 2, you're teaching them aspects of sexuality that are foundational. Okay, and I'll show you what. So let's focus on ages 2 to 4. What you're trying to do here is to lay a foundation for biblical sexuality. All right. I can see a question. There's a question there before I continue. That sex should be only marriage. How do you teach this if you are separated or single parenting? It's all right. You just teach it. You still teach it. For any single parents in the house, please understand that you're not disqualified to teach these things because of your circumstances. Okay. Just because you're a single parent, for one reason or another, for whatever reason, whether your partner died, or maybe the relationship did not work out, or maybe you're divorced, or maybe the situation that you're in is just complicated, you are not disqualified from teaching these things. So even as I give these truths, they are not just for those who are married. They are for every parent. So you can teach about marriage even though you're separated and you're a single parent, okay? And you can do it to the all moral authority, right? So what should you do? So number 1, teach them to identify their gender as male and female. Friends, that is part of teaching them about sex. And use the time boys and girls. Tell them, Theo, you are a boy. Tell them, Ivana, you are a girl. It's important that boys and girls identify the difference between their genders. Who is a boy, who is a girl? You need to teach them that. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because the world that we live in is currently trying to groom children to believe that gender is what they call a social construct. What do I mean by that? The world is trying to teach your children that gender is not something that is natural, that is innate, that is inborn. They're trying to teach children that you can actually be anything, and that is not true. So you and I did not perhaps need this kind of teaching, but your children need this. Next, affirm their biological gender. So how do you affirm it? When you say good boy, he understands he's distinct from a good girl. When you say good girl, well done. And at times you could even ask them, you could play a game. You could tell them, all right, daddy is a what? A boy or a girl? Play with them. And they'll say, daddy is a girl. No, daddy is a boy. Boy. What about mommy? Boy. No, mommy is a girl. What about your sister Lucy? Is a girl. Correct, she's a girl. What about your brother Edward? Is a girl? No, it's a boy. And make it playful. Make it playful until they understand. And keep repeating, because repetition is key. Let your child know that the body they were born in is not a mistake. The world we live in is trying to confuse our children from trusting their very physiology. All right? All right. I can see on age, Pauline says, true and yes, 2.5-year-old girl wanted a confirmation from her mother. So a hole in the private part, so yes to age, all right? Number 3, teach that our bodies and private parts are made by God, all right? Teach them, say, hey, you see, your private parts, God made them. Let them know that God is the creator and the author of their physical bodies. Let them know that every part of them was made by God. Let them associate their sexuality with God. From this age 2 to 4, let them know that their sexuality is not divorced from their theology. Don't let them think of God as something separate from their physical body. Anytime you reference their private parts, reference their physical body, always affirm that it is God who made them. Right? Teach them that our bodies and our private parts are good. Now, let me say this. Many times, boys at this age, you'll find them, for example, when you're changing their diapers, they touch their penises. And at times you get angry and you tell them, stop touching your penises, or even find girls touching their vulva area. And you get upset and you hit their hand or you tell them, don't do that, all right? So it's very easy for them to think that their private parts are bad. You want to teach them that their private parts are good, but they are private. And you want to teach them the private part is good, but you don't want them to get used to touching those private parts, all right? And many times children do that just out of curiosity. The enemies of God out there will tell you that children do that because they want to have sex. And they try and even indoctrinate this idea that children are sexually active from childhood. No, it is not true. It is mere curiosity. Teach them that nobody should touch their private parts. Right from age 2, you must tell them, nobody should touch your private parts. You must tell them, hey, your private parts are from God, and nobody should touch them. Now, what are the private parts? We often think the private parts as only the area between their legs, but also teach them that their private parts include the places that their clothes cover. That would mean their thighs, that would mean their stomach, that would mean their chest, okay? Let them know that every area that their clothes cover, no hands, no bare hands from anyone else should touch those areas. And children, when they learn that, they are very, very firm. And I can see Beth saying, I thought my 3-year-old boy was masturbating. Phew, that is enlightening. Yes, many parents panic. Many parents panic when they see their children touch their private parts. They think the kid is masturbating. No, he's just curious. Okay, and it's a curiosity that happens with children at that age. So be very clear that nobody should touch their private parts. If you lay this foundation at this age, friends, you're going to set a very good foundation for the rest of the years. Now, let's talk about some boundaries at this age. At this age, friends, please do not allow children to see you naked or changing, no matter how young you think they are. Please excuse yourself. We often think that at this age, a child is so small, if I dress in front of them, it's okay. No, 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 no. The moment you excuse yourself, you are teaching. You are telling them that our private parts need privacy. All right? Our nudity requires privacy. If you teach them that that you need to change, all right, they need to walk out of the room, they implicitly understand that even when they are changing, nobody else should be in the room. And at times, when children are changing, you find adults go like, just change them, they're here. Let the children know that they shouldn't be with someone else in the room when they're changing. They will understand that some boundary needs to be drawn, right? You can see a question here by Tess. I have a question. I've heard of men and women who openly show their naked bodies to their children and say it's form of teaching. All right. So men will be naked and their sons naked. Okay. So I've just answered that. Okay. I've just answered that. All right. So number 2, do not allow boys to dress as girls and do not allow girls to dress as boys. Don't allow cross-dressing, even if it is for playing. Some of them may say, oh, let us dress David like a girl. Let us put makeup on his eyes. Let's look. And it is funny. And let me tell you, of course, you may take pictures and fun, but what you're doing, you are basically introducing an ounce of confusion to this child about their gender. You must let them know if you're going to dress someone as a girl, dress a girl as a girl. Even when they have toys, let them dress toys that are boyish as boys and toys that are girlish as girls and vice versa. Cross-dressing is not a game. Don't entertain cross-dressing as a game, right? So, be careful on who changes your child's diaper. Friends, I'll tell you this, most predators are people that we know. You want to have a limited number of people who changes your child's diaper. Your child's diaper may just seem like a mere chore, but it is exposing your child to privacy, it's exposing their private parts. And you want to teach them privacy. So you want to have a limited number of people who change their diaper. So don't just have anyone who's available change your child's diaper. If you need to cook and the diaper needs to be changed, stop the cooking, go change the diaper. Have someone take over the cooking, go change the diaper. Let it be clear, even to your child, that not everyone should be exposed to them. If you have anyone, just anyone change your child's diaper, they will get the idea that their private parts are not really private, all right? Someone asked, what of 2 brothers ages 3 to 5? Can they bathe together? They can bathe together if you are present. If you are present to help them bathe, okay? But the moment they are teaching themselves to bathe, because of course, when they get to age 4, you're trying to teach them how to bathe themselves, please teach them to separate, right? All right. I can see someone says, this week I saw the teachers punishing a boy by making him wear a girl's dress. It's so wrong. That is abuse. That is abuse, okay? That is abuse. That is not right. All right, sometimes our little girls put on little heavyweights and they do push-ups. They say they want to be like daddy. I don't know. That's okay. Don't worry. And let me tell you, this is the next myth. You guys have gone ahead of me. Myth to be debunked. Soft boys are not feminine. Strong girls are not masculine. Okay? Just because a boy is tender does not mean he's feminine. And you should not fight his softness. Some people think if a boy is soft, oh my goodness, he's maybe girlish. No, it's okay. Let him be soft. And you can affirm his masculinity in his softness. All right? What about strong girls? Strong girls may be like that Daphne said, you know, want to lift weights like daddy, want to do push-ups. It's okay. She's a strong girl. But reminder, she's still feminine. Don't panic because you see a girl who is aggressive and a boy who is soft. Don't panic. They are still boys and girls at the end of the day. Now, what about molestation? Friends, please understand that a molested child at this age needs guided questions and affirmation of protection. Children who are molested at this age most likely develop repression. Repression is when you push back that memory because it is so traumatic and you are trying to basically survive and cope. It's a coping mechanism. And you push that away, right? And children may not remember. If you suspect something has happened to your child, you need guided questions very patiently. And you need to ask them, they may not understand what molesting is. So you need to ask them, did someone touch you? Did someone see you naked? Did someone play with your private parts? You need to teach them, okay? So that you get to understand who molested them. Then you need to affirm them protection because most people who molest children threaten them. They threaten them. So you want to affirm them that dad and mom are more powerful than the abusers. And once they get that understanding that dad and mom are more powerful than the abusers, then they will speak. What about sons who are very close to their mothers? What about them, John? And say, what about daycares, etc.? All right. So again, even daycares, you need. So basically, at this age, whoever you leave your child with must be someone who's trustworthy. And if it's a daycare, if it is babysitting, you must have trustworthy people who you really trust. And most likely, if you can get, many times it is advised. to get babysitters who are ladies and daycare teachers who are ladies. Now, that is not to say that you can't have men who are trustworthy, but I'm just saying the chances of a child being abused in the care of a woman is lower, infinitely lower than the chance of a child being abused in the presence of a man, right? All right, someone says, I've always had a concern where my boys share the washroom with adults. Not sure what the setup, but don't they see the adults' private parts on the rest? They do see, but it is very clear that it is private. It is very clear. As long as the clarity is that it is private, you don't need to be afraid, okay? As long as they know here we remove our private parts, we urinate and we close, it is okay. So let's move to ages 5 to 9. Ages 5 to 9, are you ready? All right. Situation where boys pull girls' clothes in preschool, yeah, that is unacceptable. You need to call it out. You need to call it out. Don't allow children to play with each other's private parts, okay? Someone says a 25-year-old youth, due to his softness, is gay. He's told me he has femininity, that's making the choice, all right? So just because a boy is soft does not mean he cannot be taught to be masculine. So friends, just because he's soft, does not mean he cannot be taught to be masculine. And we'll talk about that later. Oh, long question here. I'm a single mom. Text me so that you can add my question to your list in case I drop off at 8 p.m. My daughter has never had a relationship with her dad. I've had a consistent clue about sex. My worry, she's been exposed to pornography without my knowledge. A month ago, she took her phone. All right, we'll get to that stage. You'll get to that stage. Get that stage. Are there books I recommend on this topic? Yes, I will recommend to you. Next, ages 5 to 9. We are going to introduce sex at this stage, and we're going to introduce God's view and physical boundaries. Now, friends, at this stage, there's a lot of information I'm going to give you. So please hold on to your horses. In case I don't answer every question in the comment section, be patient. So number 1, set a special meeting to talk about sex. This meeting will be replicated as often as you seem best, okay? You need to set a special meeting. It is important that this meeting is intentional and it is not just random, so that your children can remember their first introduction to sex. Let it not be a by the way activity, let it be planned. When you do it in a planned manner, children will remember. Number 2, don't talk about sex reactively. For example, let's say you hear them say a bad word, you hear them say maybe the F word, and then you go like, oh my goodness, now you are learning bad words in school, we're going to talk about sex. You want to talk about sex proactively. So again, I insist, plan for the meeting. Plan for the meeting. And I can see Ida saying here, our kids are molested by those we trust, relatives, caregivers, teachers, all these things. And that's why between ages 2 to 4, it is paramount that you go with your children everywhere. And let me say this, even birthday parties, at that young age, even at this age, ages 5 to 9, if your children are invited for a birthday party, go for that birthday party. Don't just drop them and leave. Go for that party, all right? So that even the people that you're trusting are under supervision. So, number 3, both parents should be in the room during this meeting, all right? And I can see more comments coming in. Some of you are going ahead of me, so I'm just going to focus on the presentation. Both parents should be in the room. We're going to talk about beds. I can see Sheila talking about sharing beds. We're going to talk about that. It's coming up soon, all right? So you're planning a meeting. You are not reacting. It is a set meeting. You are calm, and you have both parents in the room. You're going to introduce sex by teaching about babies being in the womb and about how children come into the world. So friends, you need to understand that at this age, one of the most dominant questions that you'll be asked by children is, where do babies come from? You want to take advantage of that and teach them about sex and about children. So start by teaching the names of their private parts. Someone says, what of single parents? They invite a third party? No, you just do it by yourself, okay? You just do it by yourself. Even if you're single, you just do it by yourself. So I gave the condition there for both parents in the room for those who are married in case one of them wants to leave, because there are some married parents who normally believe it is the responsibility of one parent to do it. So they neglect it. So they say, Mom, you're going to talk to the children about sex, and then dad runs away. No, if you are married and both parents are in the house, both of you to be in the room. If you're a single parent, you are sufficient, okay? You are sufficient to do it. So you want to start by teaching the names of our private parts. Our private parts are called penis and vagina. Friends, penis and vagina are not derogatory words. They are not dirty words. They are biological words. Teach your children, by this time they know their gender, tell them, daddy and your brother have a penis. Mommy has a vagina. Friends, you have to overcome all conservativeness. You have to overcome all shame. You have to overcome all resistance from your culture that is preventing you from mentioning this thing. Don't call them some funny names. Don't say it is your wee-wee, it is your wawa, it is your kadudu, it is your what? No, 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 no. Don't say it is your ping pong. Don't call it funny things. Just say it is your penis, it is your vagina. Let them know. All right? Higher. Next, number 6. Teach what God's will on sexual intercourse looks like. Now, you're going to be direct and clear without being explicit. And now I'm going to give you a scripted example. Okay? So let's say I'm talking with my daughters. All right? I can see people saying kasusu. Oh, man. So call it as it is. So, so I'm going to give you a script, an example, a script. So let's say I'm talking to my daughters, Tandy and Ivana, about sex, and which I've had this conversation with them again. So I'm going to lift this script from a conversation I had with them. So I'm going to say, so Tandy and Ivana, do you know what sex is? No. Okay, so girls have a vagina. Let me first go back, so because I know people are reading, let me go back first. Girls have a vagina and boys have a penis. What do girls have? A vagina. What do boys have? A penis. So do you know what sex is? No. So this is what sex is. Sex happens when a mommy and a daddy love each other. They get naked and sleep on a bed. A daddy's penis enters a mommy's vagina, and it feels good because God made it that way for mommies and daddies. Daddy's penis gives mommy's vagina a seed. That seed meets an egg inside mommy, and it turns into a baby. The baby remains inside the mommy for 9 months until it is ready to come into the world. So friends, that is the first script. Do you think you can do that? Oh, I'm looking at the comments. I guess you're saying, excuse me, I had planned for the meeting and the question on sex came suddenly. The kitchen, I burnt my eyebrows off in the oven as I stuck my head there, shook and tied my pepper and your best. All right, all right. Do you think you can do that? That sounds scary. And you will play the recording. You will not play the recording. You will do it. And friends, you're going to sit down in the meeting. It is not explicit. It only sounds explicit because we don't talk to our children. All right? Yes, if you've got people who are young children, please, you want to be the one to talk to them. Now, friends, why must you say this? All right? Oh, man, it's getting hot. I can't keep up with all the comments. Oh, my goodness. I can see a parent saying, yes, I can. Yes, good job, Amani. Good job, I can. I can see Joyce saying, yes, I have. Very good, Joyce, very good. Let me drink some water. Someone says, I love the bit where it feels good because God made it, so that was beautiful. Yes, they must know that it's from God. It's from God. Now, friends, some of you are saying, oh, I can't do that. Let me tell you, if you don't do it, someone else will. And let me tell you, if someone else does it, they will not trust your voice. You will be the untrusted voice. There's another voice they will trust. All right? All right? So I'll say, is the feels good necessary? Yes, it is necessary so that they can know what it's all about. So that when they hear that it is good out there, you don't lie to them, because some of you perhaps have told your children, sex is a bad thing, it is very horrible, it's been, you know, it's pain. No, 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 no. They must know that it's a good thing, but It is God who made it. God who made it. All right? So, paragraph number 2, you guys are overwhelmed. Someone says, I've done it differently. These children know more than we know at this age. It's true. It's true. Sex is only for mommies and daddies. When you become a mommy or when you become a daddy, God will give you this gift as well. Sex is a special gift that God gave only to mommies and daddies who are married to each other. It is only for married people. God hates it when people who are not married have sex. Now, maybe saying, Ernest, what if I'm a single parent? What if you're a single parent? You tell them that that situation happened between you and their daddy, all right? And what you do is that you tell them, in case perhaps there's been there's a past, okay? You just tell them, all right, mommy and daddy had sex and that's where you were born, but mommy and daddy are no longer together, okay? When mommy gets a husband or if daddy gets a wife, they will continue, okay? So, like I said, the second point is a bit sanitized. Okay. And they don't see the actual act of the sex, only biological explanation. All right, okay. Some of you are saying my child was listening in. Alafu akuje kuambia wageni. Don't worry, hataambia wageni. All right? Hataambia wageni. The part, it feels very good. Is it necessary? Yes, it is. It is necessary. Children should know that sex is a good thing. It's a good thing, okay? Children's brains are innocent, no perversion. And that's why you need to be done to teach them so that they are not perverted. Someone says, my daughter asked me how I know men have balls. I ignored after 2 days. She said, I saw it in the picture, all right? And so you can use what you can use a biological diagram, not an image, not a picture of a real picture, but a diagram, like the ones taught in biology classes. You can teach that in case some of them, all right, are curious. Some of them who've got younger brothers and sisters, they've seen you change their diaper, so they know, and they may be curious. For example, my daughters have seen us change our son, and so they know, they have an idea. So, number 7. Good. And I like when they've said, Apasi told us to sing the song, these are my private parts to break the ice. Yes, I like that. So remember the things we learned about ages 2 to 4 concerning their private parts. You can start by repeating what are your private parts. That can help break the ice. Now, don't rush the explanation and don't rush the explanation. Explain it slowly. Some of you may go like, okay, so this is what happens, sex happens. Bye, never ask me any more questions. No, explain. Your point is not to lecture them. Your point is to teach. Because at this age, children want to know, and they want to know because of curiosity. They are not asking out of perversion, they're asking out of curiosity. You want to satisfy their curiosity in a healthy way. So the other parent, in case you are married, the other parent should not be distracted while this is going on. They should not be on the phone. They should not be checking their WhatsApp. They should not be checking the cooking. This meeting should be done with both parents and they should offer full attention, all right? Should this meeting be done with both boys and girls together? If you have both gender, at this age, yes. At this age, you can have both of them together, okay? At this age, you can have both of them together. Ask the children if they have questions. Don't just give the lecture, then walk away. Ask them if they have questions. If they don't, repeat it until you make sure they understand. And if they don't have questions, you ask them questions, all right? Quiz them and respond biblically. I can see Grace saying, fortunately, in my children's school, they start these sex sessions in grade 4. All right, good. So quiz them and respond biblically. So for example, you could ask them, number 1, can children have sex? And then they will say, no, children cannot have sex. Then ask them, why not? Because children are not married exactly. All right? What about daddy and his sister? Can daddy and his sister have sex? No. Why can't they have sex? Because daddy is not married to his sister. Oh, good. Who can have sex with daddy? Only mommy. All right. Can mommy and Uncle Mike have sex? No. Why not? It's because Uncle Mike and mommy are not married. All right. And the reason you're bringing these issues is so that you can let them see that there are some things that are wrong. Them things are wrong. I can see Grace saying, "Ooh, daddy and the sister." Yeah, so that they can know it is wrong. They can know it is wrong. They can know very well it is wrong. Then you can ask them, what is sex? And then they'll say, sex is when a mommy and a daddy have children. Okay. How do they have children? They kadudu. No, we don't call it kadudu. What do we call it? Oh, the penis and the what? And the vagina come together. And then what happens? The mommy and the daddy feel good. Okay. And what happens when they feel good? A baby is born. Okay. How is a baby born? Yeah, daddy gives a seed to mommy, and mommy's egg receives the seed, and there is a baby. Very good. All right. Now, what is the name of the private parts of a boy? Ask them. What is the name of the private parts of a girl? Ask them. Someone, do you have to include feel good? Yes. And some of you are still stuck on that. If you're not ready, then you can start slowly. But I'll tell you why, because you've asked that question several times. Because sex is a good thing. Children must know it's a good thing. And it is reserved. Now, we often fear that if they know it's a good thing, they will run and try and do it. That is normally, it's our slippery slope fallacy. We think if they know it's good, because most of us were taught this thing is bad. You're told it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, you'll hate it. And then what happens when you, God forbid, let's say you had sex outside of marriage and you realize it is good. You realize that your parents were lying to you. What happens when children realize parents are lying to them? They don't trust that voice. They don't trust that voice, okay? Someone says, always tell them sex is a gift from God for two blessed couples who have gotten permission from parents and God. Very good. Can we cook mommy's eggs? Yes, they can ask that. Tell them, no, we cannot cook it. Can I do it? Okay, so you ask them, okay? Aya. Next, proceed to emphasize that all conversations on sex should only be held with you. Friends, now this is a very important point. After you teach them, you tell them, nobody should talk to you about sex except daddy and mommy. Except daddy and mommy. Nobody should talk to you about sex about daddy and mommy. And you can quiz them on this. Ask them, can you talk about sex with your best friend? No. Why? Because they are not daddy and mommy. Can you talk about sex with your teacher? No. Why? Because they are not daddy and mommy. Can you talk about sex with your pastor? Yes. No, not even your pastor. Your pastor is not daddy and mommy. All right? And someone says, what about sex education in school? That sex education in school, you must know what it is. And once you know what is being taught, you must then therefore tell your child, you will be taught some things in school about sex and it is okay. Let your child know that you have given the teacher permission, and after they come from school, you ask them what the teacher taught. All right? So where are school teachers that, and let me say this for some of you who are saying sex education in school, please interrogate what your teachers are teaching your children. The reason I'm saying this is because there is a curriculum that was ratified by the Kenyan Parliament. The women representatives of Kirinyaga County, one of the women reps from Kirinyaga County, pushed for a bill to allow comprehensive sexuality education in schools in Kenya. Now, some of you, you've heard about CSE and you think, oh, thank God the teachers in school are teaching about that. I wish some of you could go and find out what CSE is all about. Do you know what CSE is teaching you? CSE is teaching children in the absence of teachers and in the absence of parents that sexual pleasure is a children's right. And some of them are coming and they are saying, oh, you know, a child has a right. For children who are preteens, CSE is even giving them condoms in the slums. So I'm saying this just because the school is teaching sexuality, don't be comfortable. You must tell them that they should only have these conversations with you. If a school is teaching sexuality, insist to sit in the class so that you understand what the curriculum is all about. And not just in one class, sit in about 3-4 classes. And after you sit in about 2, 3, 4 classes, quiz your child on what they're taught. Because some of you may be shocked what CSE is teaching. And many of these schools, even in the villages, there's a principal in Makweni who was shocked that children are being taught how to masturbate. How to masturbate. And these are age 5 to 9 children. Why? Because there's this idea, oh, it's been sponsored by government, it's been sort of this investigate, right? So ask them, can you talk with sex about auntie? No. Do people in your school talk about sex? Ask them. Ask them. All right? Ask them. I can see Daisy says no open door policies to allow parents to be in class to listen in. This will be hard. Let me say this, friends. No open door policies. And that's exactly how CSE is thriving. They are saying that you cannot sit in and listen to what children are being taught about their sexuality. Let me tell you something. You have every right to sit in that class. There's no law that prohibits you to understand what your children are being taught. So when they bring up that argument saying that CSE is comprehensive sexuality education, okay? If they bring that up, please stand your ground, all right? And we'll talk about that in the coming weeks. We'll have someone from KCPF talk about, the war on children. You have every right. You have every right. The principal in Makweni was able to save those children because he insisted, all right? And so you must ask. So next, does your teacher talk to you about sex? At times they do. At times they do. What do they tell you? They tell me I should find out, all right? So emphasize that only the parents are the ones authorized to talk to them about sex. Let that emphasis be very clear. Now, teach the terms fornication and adultery and show them where this is mentioned in the 10 Commandments so that they can understand that all sexual activity is only for the institution of marriage, all right? Teach them those terms. Teach them what fornication is. Teach them what adultery is, all right? Teach them, let them understand, and let them act in that knowledge. So, teach them about adoption and infertility. Teach them that some mummies don't get children. Teach them that children are a gift from God. Let them know that they are a gift. Teach them that some mummies are infertile. Some mummies don't get children, so they adopt. Talk about adoption. Talk about talk about how adopted children are equally members of the family as biological children. Okay? Teach about that. Next, let's talk about boundaries. Teach them that nobody should touch their private parts, all parts covered by clothes. And some of you have got some songs that you have with that. Some say, is the CSE curriculum not open for clarification? Well, there's a legal there's a legal arm of KCPF that can answer better on those times, can answer better on that matter. So I'm going to talk to that committee and ask if they can just give us some information concerning what we need to do legally in our country to protect our children from some of these things, all right? So, but today I'm doing a lot of downstream work, but a lot of policy and legal work needs to be done as well. So that is necessary. So do you divide the teaching over time? If yes, over how much time? So again, let me go back. This teaching ought to be done in one session, and then you need to repeat it every so often. So you could plan to have this teaching every 2 months, okay? All right? Every 2 months. And I can see Virginia saying, I love the point on adoption. I have adopted one child. Very good. I'm just wondering, shouldn't they not be touched at all, whether covered by clothes or not? Yes, yes, even covered by clothes or not. But I'm saying you identify the private parts as those covered by clothes, first of all, right? And of course, you don't want them to be touched unnecessarily, but you want to start by first of all talking about the covered parts, so that they may know that the private parts are the ones that are considered, the covered parts are the ones that are considered private. I can see a correction here by Zachary saying adoption and fertility should not be in the same sentence, i.e. adoption is not necessarily a result of infertility. Many biological parents adopt as well. Yes, of course, that's true. However, I would just say you want to also teach the fact that not everyone has a child. So you could have it in the same sentence, but again, you could also add. So instead of perhaps throwing out the baby with the bathwater, Zachary, what you could do, you could add, in addition to that, you could also say some biological parents who are not infertile can still adopt, all right? So it's not an either or situation, Zachary, it's a both and, all right? So you could teach those who are infertile can adopt, but also those who are not infertile can still adopt. I can see the parents must be living in the light, otherwise the boom. Exactly. Okay, that's why we started with that. So let's go on to the next one. Teach girls not to sit on the laps of other men, including relatives. No matter how much they love their relatives, just teach them that you're beginning to establish boundaries very early. Don't force them to hug or embrace people. At times, you normally say, go hug your cousin, hug them, and we force them. Don't force them. Don't force them to hug. Don't tell them, oh, you must hug. No. If a child is not comfortable hugging or embracing someone, don't force them to do it. You teach them that no is respected and respect their no. And if you find out they're uncomfortable, find out later, why were you uncomfortable with hugging so-and-so? There may be a story there. Teach them about privacy while dressing. We already talked about that. You're just going to reemphasize that. Teach them to shower or bathe themselves. You want to teach them how to be able to shower and take care, bathe themselves. You want to teach them how to clean their private parts and to do it well. So friends, you don't want to allow the sharing of beds. Now, I know in Africa, we normally have cousins come over and we have 3 children share one bed. Friends, I would advise you to have everyone on their own bed. Okay? Do not allow the sharing of beds. Because in that innocence, at times, curiosity can take over. And we've heard of many cases where there is a situation where one person is curious, touches another one, and it becomes a domino effect that you do not like. Do not allow showering together. Sorry, I've written there showering. It's meant to be showering. Do not allow showering together. Teach them everyone showers by themselves. And if there are many children, all right, teach them, make sure you use your 7 minutes well to shower, your 10 minutes well to shower, right? But don't allow them to shower together. Apologies for that typo. Can see, what about girls sit on their daddy's laps? Girls can sit on their daddy's laps. It's okay, right? A girl can sit on her daddy's lap. It's okay. Mommy and daddy shower Mommy and daddy shower together. Oh my goodness. They should not know that. Since lips are not covered with clothes, how do we talk about kissing and cuddling? Kissing is a sexual activity. Okay? Kissing is a sexual activity. So do not allow them to kiss one another. Is it okay for 2 parents to combine their children and have a talk about sexuality? Yes. But however, I would say let that be a second measure after you have had the first conversation with your child initially, all right? So let that be a secondary measure. Have the conversation first, then move that to second, all right? And the reason I'm saying that, so that your children do not get the idea that they can go talk to someone else about sexuality. It should start with you first, all right? Okay. Someone says, recently I saw a grade 4 teacher answering questions about sex. The questions were like, why does mommy shout, making funny noises from the bedroom? Why do mommy and daddy kiss? Why does daddy lie on mommy? Some I felt. So that's a child who has seen something. Okay. And that's a child who's been exposed to something they shouldn't have been exposed. Okay. So you need to be careful, even as a parent, concerning your boundaries. Lock your doors. I'm a single parent. I witnessed my girls being abused as my neighbor, awkward hugging in the presence of his wife, even after my girl said no. Yeah, don't allow them. Don't force them. Don't force them. And you want to talk to them. Why are you not comfortable hugging so and so? There may be a story right there. All right, let's go on. Don't dress your girls in sexy wear. Don't dress your girls in sexy wear. This whole idea of, oh, they look cute and sexy. Don't do that. Don't sexualize your girls. Let them be decent. Modesty is cool. Accompany them to public toilets. At times you go to a restaurant and you say, they are big. They can go to the toilet by themselves. Please don't assume that they're okay. When you go to a restaurant and they need to go to public toilets, go with them. Go with them. All right? Go with them. Can daddy give his girls a kiss? Yes, he can, but not on the lips. Yes, he can, but not on the lips. Have that boundary very clear. All right. Boundaries. Teach them never to have secrets with adults. And friends, right there you can see Steve Omo in the comment section has shared a document by KCD. That is their analysis of the CSE curriculum. Perhaps some of you could download it and take a look at it. What if the toilets are of the opposite sex? All right. Now, I'll say this. What if the toilets are of the opposite sex? You can take your child into that toilet, your gender toilet, and as long as you are with them. So, for example, if a child is 5 years old and they're a boy and you're a woman, right? Take them to your toilet, all right, and be with them. Don't let them walk around. Be with them. Lock the room. Let them pee. Come out with them, all right? People will understand, all right? If they're older, like 9, you want them to direct them and they're the opposite sex, tell them, go in and just give them instruction. Go in, don't talk to anyone. When you're finished, come out. I'm waiting for you out here. All right? You can give that a very clear instruction so that they can know. All right. Teach them never to share secrets with adults. Teach them to raise an alarm when their boundaries are crossed. Teach them to complain, to scream. This is the only time they're allowed to throw a tantrum. Teach them to do that in case anyone insists on crossing their boundaries. Let them know that. Teach them to speak up even when they feel shame and guilt. And that is why this meeting with them should not just happen once. Have it once. After 2 months, have it again. Some of you may prefer having it every month. After another 2 months, have it once. Or you could decide every holiday we're going to have the meeting so that they don't associate their sexuality with shame and guilt. If anything bad happens to them, they will know not to feel shame, not to feel guilty. Teach them not to be alone with adults who are not their parents. For example, going for a car ride. So let's say Uncle comes and says, let me take you girls for a ride. No. All right? Don't allow that. Teach them, if you're going to go somewhere, let mommy know. Let daddy know. Right? Teach them that nobody should talk to them about sex except you. We already emphasized that. Teach that God's will is for sexual activity to be between one man and one woman. Emphasize that teaching. And then finally, teach that God's will is that all sexual activity be reserved for the covenant of marriage, including kissing. You're doing this so that there are no bloodlines. There are no, there's no confusion. There's no confusion. Okay, they know that even that kissing should be for the decision of marriage. A few myths to debunk. Number 1, the myths here will vary based on exposure because children at this age have been exposed to different things. You can see there's that child was exposed, they saw their parents being intimate. Another child will be exposed to maybe the F word in school. Another will be exposed maybe to pornography. So you want to deal it with a case-by-case basis so that you respond to each myth with a Bible reference or a Bible story. The myths will come from their thoughts and attitudes and beliefs concerning what they have seen, what they've been exposed to. So you need to have an interrogative nature when talking about children concerning sexuality at this stage. For molestation, please understand that a molested child at this age can articulate themselves clearly, but because of the trauma, they need guided questions and they need affirmation of protection. So don't assume because they can articulate themselves clearly, then they're set to go. Be with them. Be with them. Okay? How can one handle a child whose boundaries were crossed by a relative? So, one, you need to determine what exactly happened. Find out what exactly happened. Secondly, you need to let your child know that you are going to do something about it. Let your child know that justice is going to be pursued, that you're going to talk to them about it. And if the child has any fear, you must let them know that the parent is stronger than the perpetrator, so they can always feel safe. And you want to determine if the child was threatened and let them discuss those threats. Now, you may be angry. Don't lash out your anger at the child. Don't be angry at the child. You may find that your anger may cause you to speak to your child in a harsh way. It's not your child's fault. All right? And that's why we say, never blame a child if they forgot the boundaries and they got molested by someone. It is never a child's fault. Never. So you want to also ensure that you follow through and confront that adult. That is an offense. That is a criminal offense. And you want to follow it through. Okay? And based on the violation that occurred, you want to ensure that justice is followed. I'm saying this because in the African context, relatives molest children and no justice is followed up. Friends, let me tell you, some of your relatives ought to be in prison. But you find that we prefer not to rock the boat because you hear that the family will be angry with you. You sent one of their own to prison. Now, you should be able to raise that argument and say, why aren't you angry that he raped my child? All right? So please be very clear that your child needs to get justice. What if in a situation where resources are limited, can parents share a bed with their children under 5? All right? Faith, is that situation permanent or is it temporary? Please clarify so that we can know. Is it permanent or temporary? All right. Children between the ages of 10 to 12. Friends, let's progress because of time. So at this stage, you are building a spiritual immune system against the world's sinful messages on sex. So at this moment, be assured that children have been exposed to a lot and you want to build an immune system. So number one, emphasize God's view on sexuality. Be very clear. Talk about the importance of marriage and why it is the only arena for sexual expression. Then teach about growth and changes in male and female bodies because they will start to experience these changes. And as they experience them, talk about them. Talk about them, all right? Some of them may start maybe experiencing some slight pubic hair. Talk about it. Let them know that what they're going through is not strange. Teach about the menstrual cycle. Now, this menstrual cycle, don't just teach it to girls alone, teach it also to boys. Let boys understand the menstrual cycle from the moment they're young. Let them understand what their sisters are going through, okay? Talk about attraction to the opposite sex. I can see Rosemary saying, can a boy enter your room when sleeping? I'm assuming that's your son. You must always teach them to knock. If you have set a healthy foundation, Rosemary, concerning knocking and boundaries, you let them know that mommy's bed is mommy's bed, okay? And daddy's bed is daddy's bed. And they don't just enter. Daddy's room is daddy's room. Mommy's room is mommy's room. They don't just enter, right? I can see Faith clarifying a question. Say you live in a single room with a curtain partitioning the rooms because your income cannot allow you to live in a big house. All right, that's okay. So what if you're in a situation where the child is under 5 and sleep on your bed? If they're under 5, if they're under 5, they basically belong to that younger age. Then for that situation, yes. However, you need to start thinking about a permanent solution because that child will grow up and you want to teach them to have their own space, even if it means having a mattress on the floor. Okay? If you can get a mattress and have it on the floor so that as they get older, you teach them that there's a clear separation. Someone says, I've joined late. I hope they can get a recording. Yes, there'll be a recording. There's a recording that will be available. So talk about attraction to the opposite sex. At this age, you'll notice they'll start liking boys, liking girls. Talk to them about it. Don't let them feel awkward concerning who they like. And when they talk about it, don't panic and think that your child has started going to pay dowry. No, your child is just going through a natural process where the testosterone as a boy is making them attracted to women, where their estrogen as a woman, as a girl, is making them attracted to boys. So just talk about it, and talk about it in a light way so that they don't take it too seriously. Don't make a big deal about this thing. And when I say don't make a big deal, I mean, don't start, making it seem as if, these are relationships that matter. Make it very clear that these are just feelings. Talk about infatuation. Talk about crushes. Let them know that it's a crush. It will come and it will go. But don't make it a serious matter concerning a relationship, right? Introduce the negative themes about sexuality. So friends, at this age, mention things like abortion, teen pregnancy, divorce, homosexuality, rape, masturbation. And when I say mention them, what do I mean? I am saying you need to inoculate their children, and that is basically introducing these themes without giving too many details. So the way the way vaccines work is that a doctor injects you with a small bit of the disease, and the disease in its weakened state, what does it do? It helps your body develop an immune system against it, and your body develops a strong immune system. So when you interact with the actual disease, your body can fight it. That's exactly what you're doing. So you want to introduce these negative themes, but not in too much detail. So you want to tell them things like, all right, do you know that there are some people who, kill children in the womb? And some of them may be shocked to hear that. Yeah, tell them there are some people who kill children in the womb, and it's called abortion. Do you know that a teenager can get pregnant if they have sex? Do you know that some mommies and daddies don't end up together? And let's say you're a divorced parent or you're a single parent, you could tell them, for example, in my case, I'm not together with your daddy, I'm not together with your mommy. Do you know there's some men who sleep with men? Do you know there's some women who sleep with women? Do you know there's some people who are forced to have sex and they don't want it and it is very painful? Do you know there's some people who try and have sex with themselves? It's called masturbation. What are you doing? You are introducing the negative themes and you are arousing their curiosity. And you want to answer their questions. But what you want them to do is that when they hear about these things out there, they know that they had them from you first of all. Okay? Now, if you don't talk about these things will come upon them. They may be watching a Netflix series and they will see two men kissing. What happens if they see two men kissing and you're there and you have the remote? You get upset, you go tell them, stop watching these things, switch off the TV. No, this happened to my daughter and I were watching a TV series, a construction video, and not a construction video, rather a show where they reconstruct houses, they remodel houses. And two men appeared and they kissed. And at that moment, we had to tell our children, okay, do you know there are men who do this? It's called homosexuality. And now you show them how it is wrong. Tell them, is that right in God's eyes? No. All right. Do you think it is right for a child in the womb to be killed? No. All right. Do you think it is right for someone to get pregnant when they're a teenager? Let them know these themes so that when they hear them in school, when they hear them from wherever, they already know it's wrong. But if they hear these things for the first time in school or with other people, they will not even get a foundation of what is right and wrong. And the world may give them a wrong expectation. So first messages are trusted. Who has a head start on your child? All right? You teach by silence that a matter is not up for discussion. When you are silent about these things, you're basically saying, we don't talk about homosexuality. We don't talk about it. Okay. Someone says, I have a 5-year-old son. I give him a one kiss on his lips. Is it wrong? Just don't do it. Grace, I would advise not to do it, especially as he's getting into the 5 to 9 bracket. All right. I advise that you don't do it. All right. Someone says, can we get a recording? Yes, you'll get it. Brian says, I know that show. Oh, Pastor Brian, it's a horrible show. Kasi Lynn saying, I was watching a cooking show with my daughter. The chef, a man, was talking about his husband, and my daughter was very shocked and confused. And that teach what homosexuality is. Okay. Someone says, what do we call the private parts in Swahili or Sheng? Aha. Now, wanafunzi wa Swahili tunawahitaji. Okay. My Swahili is not up to par. We need some Swahili teachers here. Anyone kutoka Pwani? Sehemu nyeti. Aha, good. There we go. I suspected sehemu nyeti, but I was not too sure. All right. Good. Wonderful. Wonderful. Ask them to share what happens in school. Ask them. And friends, let me say this. Children will not share what happens in school if you don't have a relationship with them. If you don't have a relationship with them, they will manage you, they'll keep quiet, you will not know what's happening. I'm saying this because we've got a friend of ours who the children were exposed to pornography by an older girl. An older girl showed them pornography on the phone, and they never taught they never told the parents. The parents found out through someone else, all right? And you want to be the one who your children can come to. So a relationship is very key, all right? I can see Shad saying, I don't think so. Shemunyet is beating around the bush. Shad, maybe help us out. We don't know the name, okay? So the person is asking the name for penis or vagina in Kiswahili, all right? So we need to do some research there. I think we're ill-equipped as a nation. We mostly default to English, but okay, someone says penis is mbo or mboro, all right? I need to confirm. Let me not teach uume, all right, and the vagina. All right, yeah, I can see. Penis is uume, and the vagina is called kuma. All right. Now, some of these words are used in a derogatory way, so also context is king. You want to. I can see uke. I think that's more appropriate. Says Martin. Uke. Okay, uume and uke. Very good. I think Martin, that seems to be more appropriate. Someone says that kipochi. I think kipochi, all right. I'm not going to talk about that. But some of those, you want to be careful not to use derogatory language. I think like the K word there, kuma, is an insult. Kuma is not, that is not clean language. That is derogatory, okay? So uume and uke. Thank you for that. Thank you for teaching us. Thank you for teaching us. I think we are edifying. I'm glad that there are teachers on the comment section as well. All right. Finally, teach them that the Christian message on sexuality is unpopular. Friends, please let them know that the Christian message is not popular. Some of your children at this age will think that the Christian values are loved by everyone. Everyone wants to practice them. No. Let them know what the Bible teaches is not popular. People don't like it. Let them know that they are enemies to the world. It is important that your children know from a very early age that whatever they are, whatever they know, whatever they are taught, does not make them popular. That helps them. So boundaries. Re-emphasize all the boundary guidelines of ages 5 to 9. Draw boundaries with house helps and workers at home. Now, why is that important? Most abuse with house helps and workers happens at this age. All right? And most exposure to pornography by external parties happens at this age. The average boy in an urban area is exposed to pornography at the age of 10, and it's mainly by a third party. So you have to tell them, don't go and watch the screens of other people. Don't go to the house help's phone. Don't go to the Shamba boy's phone. It is out of bounds. It is out of bounds. Okay? Don't go to the house help's room and hang out there with her. What are you hanging out with her? No. That is her private room. Be wary about sleepovers and parties. Now, sleepovers and parties can be very dangerous breeding grounds if there is no oversight. Who is hosting this sleepover? Who is hosting this party? What is going on? Hang out. If you're going for that party, hang out. Just drop your children at the party and just tell them you're hanging out. Carry your laptop and just sit there in the corner. Listen to what is going on. So some parents develop a very strict rule. They just say no sleepovers at all, and that's okay. Right? Teach them about movie ratings. Children at this age will love movies. Teach them to respect movie ratings. If a movie is not in your category, don't watch it. Teach them that. Teach them that. Teach them to walk out of explicit entertainment. Teach them, if you're watching a movie and you see two women kissing, walk out. Teach them to do that. Even if you have your friends, even if you're at your friend's house and they're watching, stand up and walk out. And when you walk out, come and tell me. Please be very clear to teach them that, so that they are not conflicted between pleasing their friends or pleasing you. They know in advance they ought to please you. They do the right thing. What if you suspect that your spouse's phone has porn? How do you want the children? Oh my goodness. So last time we talked about phones. Children at this age should have no access to phones. None at all. None at all. All right? Even if the phone has no porn, the children should have no access to phones at this stage. Get all the details about camps and activities that happen outside school. So maybe you're saying our church is having a camp. Find out, where is the camp? What is happening? Who are the teachers? Okay, who is teaching what? What is the sleeping arrangement? Who is in charge of the boys? Who is in charge of the girls? What time are they sleeping? Get to know everything, everything. Friends, don't just assume, oh, the pastor is there, everything will happen well. There are people who've been sexually harassed at church camps. Avoid cuddling with parents of the opposite sex. Now, some of you mommies, you love cuddling with your sons. You may be shocked that at this age, your son can get an erection. Now, that erection may scare you. You may think your child is sexually aroused by you. Not necessarily. It's simply because of the tenderness and the warmth, blood will rush to their private parts. So you want to avoid those embarrassing situations. Don't cuddle with your boys at this age. In fact, if anything, encourage intimate and extensive time with parents of the same sex. Okay? Encourage extensive and intimate time with parents of the same sex. Encourage boys to hang out with their dads. What if you're a single parent? At this age, rope in an uncle, rope in a brother, rope in a male figure, rope in someone who can spend that time. In my house, we don't do sleepovers. If there's a sleepover, mommy is sleeping over too. Exactly. Moreover, often than not, the sleepovers don't happen because if mommy sleeps over too, we're banned. Very good. We have the same policy. You're doing well. You're doing well. All right. Myths to debunk. Again, like I told you, myths will vary based on exposure. You want to listen to the child and respond biblically. Molestation, the same thing. At this stage, they can articulate themselves clearly. But again, just like in the previous age, guided questions are necessary. What about those who give their children gadgets to avoid disruption? No, that is wrong. And we talked about that last time. Please go online and look out for the session we did on screens and gadgets. A phone should not be used to distract a child. That's why you buy your children toys. And it's unfortunate that children have toys, but they prefer screens and phones. No, 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 no. Children should not use toys, should not use tablets and phones, all right, to be distracted because they're unruly, all right? That is not healthy. Again, just like the previous one, never blame a child if they forgot the boundaries and they got molested. It is never their fault. Finally, we've come to the end, friends. Let me finish this. Ages 13 to 19. You're preparing an adult for the real world here. So re-emphasize God's view on sexuality at the teenage stage. Re-emphasize the message on boundaries and caution. There's a lot of re-emphasizing that is going on. Re-emphasize that the Christian message on sexuality is unpopular and that many do not subscribe to it. Re-emphasize it. Teach about puberty. So you'll find that the body changes will happen. Teach about them because some of them will have shame and they don't know what to do. So teach them that these are normal changes. Some of them will have pimples. They'll be feeling a bit embarrassed. Teach them that it's a phase in life. You need to talk to them about it. Don't assume that they know. Teach them. Talk about thriving in one's singlehood and waiting until marriage. Friends, it is at this stage that you begin to talk to them about relationships. And what do you start talking? Talk to them about singlehood. Tell them why singlehood is such a wonderful thing. Praise singlehood. Talk about the benefits of singlehood. Talk about the benefits of discovering yourself. Talk about waiting for sex until marriage. It is important that they hear a positive message of singlehood from the parents. They must not hear it from anyone else, but from you first. If they hear it from anyone else, it's okay, but you be the first one who champions singlehood, so that they can know that the teenage age is not an age for dating. There are some parents, especially in the West, they normally say that at this age, teenagers can go out on dates. Don't encourage teenagers to be in relationships. Let them thrive in their singlehood and teach them about waiting until marriage. At this stage, talk about their future marriage and family. Tell them, what kind of marriage would you like to have? Would you like to marry a woman like Mami? Talk about the future family. How many children do you want to have? Let them dream and let them see it as a vision for the future, but not something to engage in presently. Talk about controversial stances that their peers will hold. Now, again, the same themes of pornography, masturbation, homosexuality, sex outside of marriage. Now start talking about them in a bit more detail. All right? Talk about boundaries. Are there friends of yours who are gay? What do they do? Why do you think they do that? All right? Why do you think they try that? Why does someone have a girlfriend? Why do they need a girlfriend? How come they're not thriving in their singlehood? Why don't they want to be single? Why don't they want to use this age to do the right? You talk about it. It has to be conversational. And talk about dressing and sexual boundaries in relationships, especially with the girls, because at this stage, the girls appear sexual, very, very sexual, okay? All right, and I can see Cairo saying, let them socialize, not specialize. Exactly, I like that. Let them socialize, not specialize. Coach using stories and scenarios and be the devil's advocate. So at this stage, use stories. So tell them, so imagine if your friend got pregnant today, what would you do? Now be the devil's advocate. Say, if she got pregnant, I would ask her who is the father. What if your friend says, I want to abort the child? I want to abort the child. What do you say to them? I will tell them, don't abort, abortion is murder. But what if they say, but if I don't abort the child, my life will be ruined. Now, what if my education is ruined? What if I drop out of school? What if my life is ruined? How come? Why aren't you my friend? Why aren't you supporting me? What do you say? You know what you're doing? Be the devil's advocate. Put your child in a difficult position so they can have moral dilemmas. And then help them think about those moral dilemmas so that they can start thinking about, what is the right thing to do in this case? Encourage critical thinking. Encourage them to think critically. Let them see some situations are not black and white. Help them make difficult choices, difficult decisions. Help them understand that not everything is black and white and they need to make much. You are preparing them to be adults. Teach them that God can forgive, God can heal, and God can redeem, but the consequences remain. Teach them that if they mess up sexually, they can be forgiven. They can be forgiven, but the consequences will remain. And the consequences are not a punishment from God. The consequences are basically what? The result of what has happened, okay? Teach them that sexuality is not everything. At this age, the world is telling them that sex is everything. Sex is the main thing on radio, on TV, and you find that because the testosterone for the boys is revving up, the estrogen for the girls, it's very easy to believe that sexuality is not everything. There's an example I normally teach with teenagers. I normally ask them, I normally tell them, what percentage of your married life do you think you'll spend having sex? And teenagers go like, 90%, 80%, 100%. And I give them a very small exercise. I tell them, all right, let me give you an exercise. How many times in a week do you think a married person has sex? And they guess, they say something like, they have sex every day. They have sex 5 times. I tell them, okay, guys, so I'm going to tell you, a married person may have sex twice a week. Twice a week. They'll not have sex every day. They'll have sex twice a week. And I ask them, now, how long do you think sex is? They go like, sex is 1 hour. It's 4 hours long, 6 hours. It's 30 minutes. Tell them, okay, guys. So the average sexual encounter will just last 10 minutes, okay? So 10 minutes, 2 times a week. How many minutes are that? They say 20 minutes. I'm like, all right, so 20 minutes a week. And let's do the calculation. I tell them, how many minutes are there in an hour? They say 60. To get the number of minutes in a day, multiply by 24, that is 1,440 minutes in a day. All right, to get the number of minutes in a week, I multiply by 7. So what is the result? 10,080 minutes in a week. And then I ask them, how many minutes are spent having sex? Only 20. Aha. So let's do the percentage. 20 divided by 10,080 times 100%, and the result is 0.198%. And I tell them, friends, you are going to spend 0.198% of your life having sex. What are you going to do with the other 99% of your life? And I tell them, sex is not everything. Bring it clearly, and you feel free to borrow that example so that your teenagers can understand this pressure they're receiving is a false pressure. It is a pressure of the enemy. So finally, teach them about contraceptives and birth control. Now, the next 3 slides are going to show you the contraceptives and birth control, but I'm not going to go through them. I'm just going to flash the presentations, but these are things you can easily Google. And basically, there are 3 types of birth controls and contraceptives: hormonal, barrier, and intervention. Now, why are you teaching them these 3 things? So that they can go and experiment? No. So that they can have the knowledge, right? So they can have the knowledge. And I'm not going to go through them, but those are basically the 3 types. All right, I've just passed them briefly. I think when I share the notes, you can read on them. But you basically talk about their hormonal barrier intervention. And the reason you want to know that is so that your children can understand that world, and you can tell them why we don't advocate for that. You may say, we believe we wait for sex until marriage. All right? So you need to give them that information and let them know some people do this so that they're not blank. When these issues are raised by their friends who are saying, oh, for us, we'll okay, you may let them know, all right, yes, your friends have said they will use a condom, but teach them sex is more than just a physical act. Sex affects your soul. So there's no condom for your soul. All right? So finally, myths to debunk. The same thing, it depends on exposure. And this time, you're not just responding with scripture. I want you to notice that this time you're also responding with apologetics and scientific truth. That's what you're doing. So at teenage level, you don't just give them scripture, give them also scientific truth that aligns with scripture. And there are books you can read out there. Molestation, again, a molested teenager may go quiet if they disobey the parent. If they disobey the parent, if you tell them not to go to a party and they went to a party, then they got raped, they'll be afraid to say that they were raped or they were sodomized. So do not be afraid to blatantly ask them if they were molested, if they were raped, if they were sodomized. Don't be afraid, even if they disobeyed you. And if you find out they disobeyed you, please attend to their molestation before you attend to the fact that they disobeyed you. You'll deal with that later. All right? They say when a man is drowning, that is not the time to teach them to swim. Never blame a child if they forgot the boundaries and they got molested by anyone. Never blame the child. It's never a child's fault. So friends, in short, we are saying the summary of this presentation. So we are saying, Ernest, it's about time you finish. You've taken too long. Let me summarize. In summary, 15 principles. Christian sex education is about the shaping of moral character. And this is different from comprehensive sexuality education, which teaches that sexual pleasure is the right of a child. Sexual pleasure is not the right of a child. We are teaching sex education to shape the moral character of children. Parents are the principal sex educators. Close, positive, and balanced child-parent relationships are crucial for successful and open discussions. Fast messages are potent. Seize teachable moments and become askable parents. And let me just speak a bit on that. When you see a situation happen, that is a teachable moment, right? When you see something on TV, that is a teachable moment. And when I say become an askable parent, be the kind of parent who can actually be asked questions and you can answer. You don't need to run away. Repetition is critical. Keep teaching. Don't think that having one session with your child will be okay. please ensure that you repeat these teachings, okay? And I can see all the comments concerning the parental controls. We talked about that last week, the other week. All those parental controls on devices, we talked about all those things. And that's why I've not raised them today, about devices, screens. And so please pardon me for not teaching that today, because we covered that the other time. Accurate and direct messages, no euphemisms. Remember, no kadudos. We are being direct. Teach them that they can only talk about sex with you. Teach that the Christian message on sexuality is unpopular. Positive messages are powerful. And I'll give you an example of a positive message. When someone gets married, that is a positive message. Use that as well. Don't just use negative messages to teach. Stories are powerful teaching tools, like Jesus, especially at the teenage level, be the devil's advocate. You can and you must inoculate your children against destructive beliefs, all right? You can and you must regulate internet-enabled devices. And if you missed that session, please go on YouTube, you'll find it. Sexuality is not everything, and God can forgive, heal, and redeem, but the consequences remain. And that is the end. That is the end. Thankfully, tomorrow is a public holiday. Lessons can begin tomorrow. Exactly. What's the YouTube handle? Kenya Christian Professionals Forum. Kenya Christian Professionals Forum. Omondi says, I always found it easier to talk to strangers other than my mom about sex when I was younger. Can you identify someone in a circle of friends who can talk to them about this topic when they are more open to the topic? No. No. Guys, fight the awkwardness. Fight the awkwardness and be the one to talk to them. And it will be awkward, but be the one, all right? Be the one. And as a secondary step, you could invite someone as a secondary step, all right? Our 10-year-old boy won't talk about this conversation, even puberty talk. He even cries and says he'll never be ready for the talk. How can I help him out? Then there's something that has happened to him, or there's something that he has experienced. Because a 10-year-old boy should not feel like that at that age unless he's been exposed to something. That's why he doesn't want to talk about it. And so you want to change the conversation. Change the conversation and ask, why are you afraid? Why don't you want to talk about it? All right? Why would others be more open to others or not you? Thank you, Daphne. All right? Very timely. How can I get the lesson on devices, parental control? Go on YouTube and look for Kenya Christian Professionals Forum. What happens when I miss to teach my children at age 5 to 9 years sexuality, and now they're at 13 to 19? Pick up at 13 to 19, all right? But pick up the main teaching, the biblical teaching on sexuality, the 3 principles that we shared. Start with that, and then just keep to ages 13 to 19. A lot of catch-up may need to happen. And what I will advise you, you can use a book in case you're feeling, I missed ages 5 to 9 and now they're 13. Here are some resources that you can use, all right? So if you look at the screen, there are some resources you can use for those teenagers. So we've got basics. Basics helps them have conversations about singlehood and relationships. You can start it early, though that one would be better for those in their above 19, all right? But you could read with them basics, okay? Then if they're 13 to 19, you could start with this book, The Passionate Pursuit of Purity. That is a good book to read with them. It will help you catch up. If you want to talk about homosexuality, there's a book we have called Unmasking LGBTQ. So you can look for that. And then we've got a smaller one called Holy Joe, going for 200 shillings. And then we've got a board game going for 4,500 shillings in case you want to get to develop relationships with children, all right? So there's that. How do I join this series of lessons? Just follow Kenya Christian Professionals Forum on YouTube, but also, Steve, you could put a number so that they could text in case they want to get updated on the next forums. Can a 14-year-old girl join Girl Power just to learn? Unless you're there with them. We normally have Girl Power for adults, 18 years and above. So if you come with your under 18, we ask you to sit in with them. all right? Parents to teenagers, where do we have such forums? So we've got ministries that are doing some great work, and we're going to recommend them. Please look for the following. Look for New Dawn Mentorship. Look for Raising Future Parents. And please look for Candid Hope Kenya. These are the people who have brought this talk to you today, including myself. New Dawn Mentorship, Raising Future Parents, and Raising Future Parents are people who are my mentors, Dr. Stanley Mukolwe and Patience Mukolwe. They've got wonderful forums for parents to teenagers, and you can get some good information there, and also check out Candid Hope Kenya. All right, very good feedback, very informative. All right, and some of you have got some wonderful information. Thank you for sharing. I don't know everything. Do you have personalized sessions? And if you do, how much do you charge? Yes, we normally just ask you to give an offering to our ministry. And that's why even right now, I'm going to ask you parents, please, before you leave, do you mind giving us an offering? Right there, there's a pay bill I have put. We bring these resources to you freely, and hasn't it blessed you? I'm going to ask you to just pull out your phones and give to that pay bill. It will help us keep offering this for free, all right? And to as many as possible. Someone had asked about books, and I can see there's a comment here by Faith that talks about the book. So let me recommend some books for you. The first one I'm going to recommend is by James Dobson. It's called Bringing Up Boys, okay? Bringing Up Boys. The pay bill is on the screen, Sarah. It's right on the screen, you can see it. Bringing Up Boys is the first book by James Dobson. Also by James Dobson, Bringing Up Girls. Bringing Up Girls. All right? Check out Bringing Up Boys, Bringing Up Girls. And also, you can check out God's Design for Sex series by Stan and Brenna Jones. God's Design for Sex series by Stan and Brenna Jones. But let me say this. Stan and Brenna Jones have also written a book called How and When to Talk to Your Kids About Sex. But let me just ask you to read it with a pinch of salt. The book by Stan and Brenna Jones, How and When to Talk to Your Kids About Sex, tends to be a bit liberal, just a bit liberal on matters like what? Matters like masturbation, matters like homosexuality. They tend to be a bit liberal. So I ask you to be very careful with that book, but in particular. However, it's a good series. It's called God's Design for Sex. God's Design for Sex. So those are some books you can consider. Someone says, please post the books here. The previous books, the pay bill is on the screen, Judy. Okay, is it send money to Ernest? Yes, you can also send to that number. It will still come to me. All right. For some reason, can't see the pay bill. Let me put it on the screen for you. Any other question before we conclude? Okay, I'm gonna put the pay bill on the comment section for those who are asking. This talk is going to be available on YouTube, on Kenya Christian Professionals Forum, and it's also going to be available on my personal YouTube channel. That is Ernest Wamboye. So look out for it. We're going to have them available afterwards. Okay. So I'm just going to put this. If there's no other question, we're going to pray and close. So for those who are asking about the pay bill, there it is on the screen. I have put it. For the list of books, Kim, which books? The ones I mentioned or the previous ones? Yeah, and it's also be available on Candid Hope YouTube channel. The books I mentioned, the previous ones. All right, so for the previous ones, let me just go back. You can get them at TOL libraries. There it is on the screen. I've just gone back. You can go to TOL libraries and you can get those books. And TOL libraries, their number is down there. All right. That number down there is sufficient for you to contact them and they can get you these resources. All right. So, friends, thank you for those who have given an offering. We receive it with thanksgiving. It really does go a long way in helping us keep offering this work. Someone says James Dobson and who? So the other one was James Dobson was bringing up boys, bringing up girls. Then the other one was Stan and Brenna Jones. Stan, S-T-A-N. Brenna is B-R-E-N-N-A. Jones, J-O-N-E-S. Right? Abang, was this question answered? What happens when I miss to teach my children ages 5 to 9? Yes, we answered it. We answered that question, Agatha. Where do I get one on raising boys? Bring up boys. If you are in Kenya, check out what's it called? Keswick Bookshop on bringing up boys. Keswick Bookshop. Someone says we have the pay bill you can give later too, right? Yes, you can give it later. It's okay. It's okay. All right. And I can see some wisdom from Faith saying stand up by finding out where they know, then build up from there. Yes, and that's why we give the books there so that they can know what to do. Raising Future Parents is also available, yes, by Dr. Stanley Mukolwe. Please check out his website, www.raisingfutureparents. Please pay up for those courses. They will be of good help to you. Friends, it is 9 o'clock. Our time is done. We said we'll start at 7 and end at 9, and so it is 9 o'clock. We are going to try and see if we can have more questions and bring in more people. There are many other experts out there who are doing wonderful work so that we can fight for our children. So allow me to pray for us. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for your faithfulness and we thank you for your love that's better than life. We thank you for your son, Jesus, and we thank you that you have given us all that we need for life and godliness through our knowledge of you. May this truth bring forth a change in our lives and may it help us raise a generation of children in a healthy way. We thank you, we honor you, we give you all the glory, all the honor. In Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen. 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 Thank you, friends. Thank you so much. And thank you to all those who are tuning on YouTube. Thank you, Eric Manzia. I see you've got your hand raised. Do you want to speak, Eric? Did you have a question? Eric, I'm going to give you a chance to unmute your mic. Just give me a moment. Or you could write on the comment section, Eric, so that okay, let me just see if I can unmute your mic. Just give me a moment. So that I can change the permissions here.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, Eric, I can hear you. Please go ahead. Go ahead and speak.
Yeah, I am.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you for that. I mean, I just thought that this moment won't pass without me insisting to pass a vote of thanks to you and the team for this very enlightening conversation. To be honest, I didn't even know about you guys. I just got this from my wife and she also got it from somebody else. So I think you've done a fantastic job. I'm a father of 3 boys, 14, 9, and 3. Wow. And I think these are some very good lessons. And I've just posted a comment there. I would want to attend more of your sessions, so it would be good if you could share with us how we can reach you and how we can, just get to be knowing when you have these kind of conversations so that, we can become better parents and better citizens of this country and the world. Thank you very much, Ernest and your team. I do appreciate that.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you for your kind words. So, Steve, please put the number on this. Please put the number on the screen so that they can text that number. So Steve will put a number on the screen. That number is by KCPF. Just send an SMS or a WhatsApp to that number. It is 0757 975 701. And that's a Kenyan number. 0757 975 701. So send that text, and Eric and the team will be glad to reach out to you. So can the limit go beyond 500? Yes, I think we can. We can buy a license to get more than 500. But I think where we are with 500 and the Zoom link, it's better that way. So also to manage comments, you can imagine all the comments we had today with just 500 people. You can imagine how it would be the 1,000 people. When you add God to it, it becomes easier. I'm glad I was part of the conversation. Thank you, Doreen. Joy Mavura says, do you only do on sex on screens, or also yelling, like parents who yell? Please go to Dr. Mukole's class on the part of parenting and yelling, raising future parents. He'll give you all the tips so that you don't lose your mind. Some of you, perhaps you're saying, I want to talk to my teenager about sex, but you may talk to them and they will say, what do you need to know? Because they're the ones who know. So again, Steve, post the number and then let me close. After Steve posts the number, I'm just going to close. Asante sana. All right. Steve just post the number one more time, and I can see a comment here. Special acknowledgement from South Africa. Oh, South Africa, thank you. Thank you for joining in South Africa. We forgot to mention the different countries that were here. All right. We will try and see your IG handle at @Wamboye. @Wamboye is my handle, @Wamboye. @Wamboye. Thank you so much, friends. God bless you. God be with you. God keep you. God cause his face to shine upon you. Bye-bye.